Hey guys, it's me, Ireti. I am a fun and happy woman, but I don't tolerate any nonsense. If you give me a cup of trouble, I multiply it and give you a bag full of troubles. But don't panic, guys. I'm still a sweet, gentle, and loving woman. I grew up in the village with my mother, but life and love happened to me at the same time, so I came to Lagos to seek a solution. On this very day, I had just come from the village to see my love Tony. Yes, guys, Tony is my boyfriend from the village, but he left me and came to Lagos. Unfortunately, I can't stay in the village alone. We have to live together now. But his gateman, Adam, has denied me access to my man's house. Who does that? I refused to leave and was battling with him when Chris, Tony's younger brother, came out and commanded Adam to let me in. A whole Ireti sweet pepper, and you want to stop me from coming to my man's house? You are playing with fire. I thanked Chris, and he asked what I was doing in Lagos. Ah, Chris, I came to see your brother Tony. I hope he's home. Chris asked why I didn't call before coming. Chris, I tried his lines multiple times, but they were unresponsive. Since I had his address, I decided to come see him because there is trouble in the land now. Chris was surprised and asked what trouble I was talking about. Chris, the truth is, I am pregnant with your brother Tony's child.
I don't chop belleful for your brother. Oh.
I got settled in the living room, and guys, it was as if I was being put in a freezer. The whole house was freezing. By the way, Tony has a beautiful home, yet he just abandoned me in the village while he enjoyed it alone. It's not fair at all, I thought to myself. Shortly, Chris came with a glass of juice, offering it to me. Ah, Chris, thank you for this juice, but I don't think the problem on my head now would allow me to drink and enjoy juice, so I said and rejected it. I asked if he was able to reach his brother, and he said he hasn't for a couple of days now. Tony is not around, and he doesn't know when he will return. Jesus, you said days? What have you done about it? Are you not bothered? I was confused, guys, but then he assured me his brother was fine. He does that sometimes, so he's sure Tony is fine wherever he is. Ah, thank God. Chris helped carry my bag and took it to Tony's room so I could freshen up and relax. Finally, the lion himself returned. I was in my room when I heard Chris welcoming Tony, so I rushed out and ran to give him a hug. He was shocked to see me and asked what I was doing here. Oh, I didn't even see he came with a female guest. Well, I told him I was pregnant, and that's why I'm here in his house. The shock on his face, guys. He asked how come after giving me medicine to take. Tony, what are you saying? When you continued having sex with me, you didn't know a time like this would come, and I would be pregnant? Well, the deed has been done. I'm pregnant now. Maybe it's the will of God that made the pills you gave me not work, so I'm here now. Deal with the reality. His female guest was angry and walked out, and immediately he ran after her, calling her babe. I don't understand. Who are you calling babe again when I'm here? I turned to Chris because he refused to help, leaving me to my own problems. I was so pained and battered that the man who told me he loves me has abandoned me to be an understanding girlfriend while he follows the city girls. I was so pained as I poured out my heart to Chris, who was consoling me. Chris, what your brother did to me is so inhumane. How can he deceive me? He told me he loves how I look naturally, yet he's following another woman with artificial hair and looks, looking like a mermaid. Chris calmed me down and told me not to stress myself because of my unborn child, so I thanked him and left for my room. I was lying peacefully on the bed when Tony and his mommy water girlfriend entered. That's the name I gave her, guys, because she looks like one. I told them welcome. Tony began asking what I was doing in his room. I don't understand. Where else should I be? Are you not the father of my unborn child? He then cut me off and said I'm a visitor and should go to the visitor's room. Tony, if not for God, I would have asked for heavy thunder to strike you. His mommy water girlfriend intruded, and I immediately churned her, letting her know I wasn't talking to her, and she maintained her cool. Tony wanted to force me to leave, so I began to create a scene, shouting and calling for help, leaving them confused. Tony turned to her and suggested they go back to Abuja, but she refused, insisting they would stay in this room with me, and I wouldn't do anything. Oh, you are welcome. Please come and enter the bed, I said sarcastically. You think you are smart, Tony? But I will let you know I'm a village girl with plenty of wisdom. Later that day, After having a chat with his brother Chris, Tony called me out and told me to abort the pregnancy. What? God forbid. I will never do that, I said to him. He got enraged and told me he has a girlfriend now and I shouldn't bring my problems to them. Ah, Tony, can you hear yourself? So like this now, you mean to tell me you've played a fast one on me, or what? You are such a bad person. I still refuse to go for any abortion, and then he said whatever plans I decide to do now are on me. He's hands off my case and walked away, leaving me confused and disappointed.
Well, at this point, it's on you. Whatever it is you want to do with this pregnancy, it's on you. Don't involve me in it.
So now what do you want to tell me be this?
Dear Lord, please, it's only you I know. I put my trust in you because I know you will not fail me, I prayed. I packed my bag to leave. On my way out, Chris stopped me, asking where I was going. Chris, I'm leaving. Anywhere life takes me. Let me just go. I don't want to be a burden to anyone. After all, I brought this whole situation upon myself, so let me deal with it, I told him. Then he told me I'm carrying his brother's child, so my problem is automatically theirs.
Seriously, listen to me. You're carrying my brother's child. Your problem is our problem. Do you understand?
He forcefully took my bag from me and took it back inside my room. Guys, Chris is such a nice person. How I wish Tony, whom I knew, would be like this for this child's sake, not the chaos he's creating. Chris consoled me, constantly caring for my unborn child, and insisted I relax while he got something for me to eat. I was a bit relieved, but honestly, I never bargained for any of this. Tony, you did this one. Chris was in the kitchen preparing lunch for me, and Tony was with him, probably getting some water from the fridge. I overheard their conversation when Chris asked what he was going to do with me. Tony told him he can't have a family with me. I am a local girl, naive, and have no class. But his mommy water girl, Linda, is rich and classy, and he wants to spend forever with her. When he asked about the baby and if he still wanted to abort his first child, Tony said he's not cut out for any baby mama drama. He's made up his mind that he's not going to have the child, and that's final.
Chris, do you think baby mama drama is a child's play? I don't want to be a victim of that.
It's well, we will see where this leads, but God knows I will never abort my baby. Chris finally served the food and called me to come eat. I happily went to sit down so I could enjoy the delicious meal he made for me, but to my surprise, I saw noodles. What is this? Why would you prepare this children's food for a pregnant woman like me to eat? This food won't go anywhere in my system, honestly. In an hour's time after eating this food, it will feel like I haven't eaten for days. Can't you make a full bowl of fufu with confirmed vegetable soup so I can gauge well? Chris was just speechless, looking at me. Then he told me if I don't get satisfied after eating this, I can go make whatever I want to eat myself. And I accepted. But honestly, guys, this food is for children, not for a well-trained girl from the village, especially not when I'm pregnant. The next morning, I was happily having my breakfast of bread and tea when Linda entered and asked if I was still staying in my baby's father's house. I just ignored her and continued my meal. She then grabbed my bread, raising her voice and calling me a witch. I just smiled and began singing my song. Then I told her I am not leaving this house, and it will shock her how I will remain here while he leaves the house for us. She was defeated and told me I was carrying an unwanted pregnancy. I smiled and told her, at least that shows I'm fertile, unlike her, which I am not even sure if she can still have children, leaving her silent and defeated. At least she dropped my bread back for me. She wanted to raise her hand, and I gave her the biggest warning of her life not to even dare. Otherwise, I will pound her just the way I pound fufu. And she walked away, defeated and frustrated, to go and report me to Tony. I don't blame you, Mommy Water. One cool night, Tony was with Linda in the living room, having their moments together, when I came out and politely asked Tony to excuse her so I could have a word with him. Immediately, Linda laid on him, and he unapologetically told me we couldn't talk now, maybe tomorrow. I was really heartbroken at that act. I just looked at them and went back to my room. I couldn't help but cry my eyes out in my room. Why would Tony deceive me like this? He made me believe he loved me back in the village. What wrong did I do to make him abandon me like this? I thought to myself. I was just confused and worried. This is not what I want for myself. What should I do now? The following day, Chris dropped some money for me to use and cook for the house. Wow, this money is too much, guys. All this money for just 4 people? If it was in the village, they would give you 1,000 naira and expect you to cook 3 different meals from that money.
If na village like this, now they say take 1,000 naira, cook soup, cook stew, and more journey. See money now.
I was counting the money in amazement when I heard Tony and Linda coming out. I quickly hid the money and continued with my cleaning. Tony was leaving for work and Linda was seeing him off. They stood in front of me, having a romantic moment, trying to make me feel jealous. I quickly told them to excuse me as I wanted to sweep, and they left. This Linda girl is really getting on my nerves. When she returned, I began to confront her for snatching my husband from me. She started laughing, asking what exactly was getting me pissed, if it was the kisses or the hugs. I just told her to go find another man and leave mine alone. She wanted to challenge me, but you know me, guys, I don't take nonsense. I picked up my broomstick and she ran for her dear life. Nonsensical. I'm ready for you in this house. I will deal with you if you don't mind yourself. Later that day, I returned from the market, but something happened, guys. I slept off in the vehicle I entered, and the stupid driver still went ahead to drop me off at another place after I had told him where I would drop. All these bus drivers, well, he's just lucky I'm in a place I don't know. If not, I would have fought with him. So, a pregnant woman cannot sleep again? But wait, guys, what if these people were ritualistic? So that's how I would have been used for a sacrifice to gods I don't know? Ah, God, thank you. Thank you for protecting me and not allowing this mommy water girl to win this fight. I commenced cooking, pounding my yam and preparing all the ingredients. Later, when I had put them on the fire, I sat down close to the gas and slept off. This pregnancy that came with sleep is what I don't understand. It's as if a tsetse fly bit me and ran away. I had slept so deeply that I didn't hear when Tony and Linda returned and were knocking nonstop until I heard my name so loud from the window and jumped up. I didn't even know what I was doing, just looking confused. And then Tony shouted at me to open the door immediately. Jesus, what kind of sleep is this? I ran to open the door for them. Tony was angry that I kept them outside for God knows how long. I just apologized to them. As they were about to leave, Linda began making noises as if she was smelling something horrible. She came close, smelling my clothes, and asked what the horrible smell was.
What's the horrible smell?
Oh, that? It's not any smell. I'm cooking a very delicious meal. I'm making fufu and ogiri soup. I know you don't know anything about it, I told her. Tony, didn't you tell her it's your favorite dish? I said, smiling uncontrollably. Linda got upset and asked Tony what I was talking about. I just looked at both of them. Then she told Tony to spray the house and not to ever eat what I'm cooking, and he accepted as they went inside. Can you imagine? Tony's favorite food, and this mommy water told you not to eat it, and you stupidly accepted. Wonders shall never end. Later that night, I overheard Tony and Linda conversing in the living room. Linda asked Tony how he met me, and he replied that he had always been unlucky with love. He loves his women classy and educated, but they always had unbearable attitudes, and he would get hurt in the end. He decided not to fall in love again. Then one day, he decided to go to the village for a vacation, and that's how he met me. Be ready. Guys, he didn't tell me this part of the story though. He continued, saying that I was the complete opposite of his kind of woman, but when he spent time with me, he was always happy, free, and relaxed.
But when I spent time with her, I realized that she's really fun to be with. I would laugh, I would joke, I would come alive.
Yes, guys, we always joked and played together, which was mainly how I fell in love with him. He kept praising me, saying I later brought love into his life, but he regretted it because his stay in the village was brief. He decided to go back to the village to get me, but then he met this mommy water, and now he's in love with her. Guys, I could tell Linda wasn't cool with this story he just told her. I'm sure she's up to something, so I continued eavesdropping on their conversation. Linda asked about my likes and dislikes. Can you imagine? Tony was just smiling, telling her about my likes. He told her how I like to make everyone around me happy and how I like cooking a lot, especially Swallow. He then mentioned my favorite color, which caused a problem for them when she asked about her own favorite color. Unfortunately, Tony couldn't answer. He kept stuttering, and she got vexed and walked away. This is really funny, guys. Fear women, they know how to get you to fall into their trap when they want to. The following day, I was in my room alone when I heard a knock on my door. I innocently asked the person to come in, and then Tony walked in. I was shocked. Jesus, what are you doing here, or did you miss your way? I asked. He said he came to check on me, asking how I was doing and if I slept well. Surprised, I ignorantly answered that I was fine, and yes, I slept well. He then said that last time, he noticed I was sleeping near the gas, and it wasn't good. He insisted that if I was tired, I shouldn't cook, and if I was feeling sleepy, I should come to my room and sleep. As if that wasn't enough, he told me if I needed anything, I shouldn't hesitate to come to him. Then he bid goodbye as he was heading to work and left. Oh my God, what just happened right now? Was that Tony or an angel of him that just spoke to me? This is strange, I thought to myself in amazement. Let's just watch and see. One beautiful day, I was pounding yam to make my very special delicious soup. I was enjoying my time in the kitchen when Linda emerged and told me to stop making noise as I was disturbing her beauty sleep. I don't understand. I should stop cooking because you want to sleep? She persisted, so I just told her I'd heard her, and then she left and I locked my door. You must be joking. A pregnant woman shouldn't eat what she's craving because of one beauty sleep? I don't understand. I went back to continue my pounding, guys. Nobody should stress me. Later, Tony returned home and began scolding me because his mommy water girlfriend had reported me to him. He said he wouldn't tolerate me disturbing and making his girlfriend uncomfortable in his house. I just looked at them in amazement as they left. The following day, I didn't understand how I was feeling. I kept tossing around the compound, scratching my body, and looking helpless. I was grateful to God that Chris was home, because if I was left alone with that mommy water girl called Linda, maybe something bad would have happened. Chris helped take me to the hospital for checkups and treatment. Later, I returned home and was sitting peacefully in the living room when Tony came in and began showing care. He had learned from Chris that I wasn't feeling well, so he came to see how I was doing. I told him I was getting better. He then advised me to take the medications as prescribed by the doctor and to stop stressing myself out. My God, is this Tony talking? I was surprised. He told me whenever I need anything, he would do it for me. As if that wasn't enough, he said he would take me to the hospital so I could register for antenatal care and they could check on the baby. Then he left. Honestly, guys, I'm just confused. Tony will be nice one day and then turn into a monster the next. Am I safe in this house? I doubt it, honestly. But I will still trust God because I know nothing will ever happen to me or my unborn child. Guys, this pregnancy thing is turning me into something else. I don't even understand myself anymore. Today, I was craving a very cold drink, so I went out to get it. I returned home, sat on the floor, as that was how I felt comfortable, and began enjoying my drink. Linda came out and asked if I needed anything since she had seen I'd been a bit uncomfortable due to the pregnancy. I'm sure you are not talking to me. I didn't even look at her or say a word. She came close, trying to touch me, but the way I looked at her, she understood and left me alone. Later that day, Chris was in the living room watching cartoons. I carried my food, Swallow, and joined him sitting on the floor. Aji Butter, see how you are watching what is meant for children. You should be watching stuff like football, wrestling, or things for adults, not this, I said to him, and he laughed. I told him how Linda had come earlier, trying to show care. I didn't know if it was real or just for show, so I didn't respond to her. Chris was surprised and asked when it started. Maybe she was tired of the fights between us and wanted to settle things. I just told him I don't care. She should just stay in her lane. I continued enjoying my meal, and Chris was surprised at how comfortable and happy I was eating. One cool afternoon, I was outside the house trying to receive the sun directly on me. That's what my baby wants. Tony drove in, parked his car, and asked what I was doing outside. Tony, please, just allow me. I need this sun. I want to feel the heat, I told him. Then he asked about my drugs. Tony, that drug is not my problem now. This is exactly what I need, I told him. Tony insisted I go inside, so he took me in. I went to the kitchen to sit down so I could receive the heat very well when Linda came again. She asked how I was feeling and if I needed anything. Linda, please just leave me alone. I don't need anything. I just want the heat, and that's why I'm here.
Let me help you.
I beg, I don't need help. I say make I sit down here collect heat. Now what's my body need?
Then she suggested taking me to the hospital or calling a nurse because I wasn't feeling well. I don't trust you one bit. Oh, you want to kill me, right? You want to call your fellow Marine spirit as a nurse so she can inject me with something deadly, right? You lie. Please, Mommy Water. I repeat, I do not need your help. And that's final. She still wanted to push further until I raised my voice at her before she left me alone. What rubbish. You want to be nice to me all of a sudden. Guys, would you even trust such care? I bet you wouldn't. This very day, guys, I was so down, but still trying to feel strong because I am a strong woman. I was lying on the couch, all covered, when Linda came in and began showing care. I told her to leave me alone, and she left. A few hours later, my condition worsened, and I was shivering like I would pass out soon. I felt someone come to my aid quickly, calling for help immediately. I couldn't say a word because I was so down. Later, the doctor came to examine me and saw I hadn't been taking my medications as prescribed. He informed Chris, who then came to my room and advised me not to stop taking my drugs. Honestly, I don't like taking drugs, but he insisted I learn so that my baby won't be affected.
Come on, Yureti. Huh? Not taking your drugs is dangerous for you and the baby. Nobody likes taking drugs, okay? We just do because it's necessary. Please.
I thanked him for saving my life, but he said he didn't do anything and that I should thank Linda instead. Linda again? What does that girl want from me? Chris advised me to forgive Linda and learn to see her as a good person. I just nodded my head. That night, I was in my bedroom when Tony entered. I saw him and hissed. He came and sat close to me, asking how I was feeling. I nonchalantly replied that I was fine. Then he began apologizing for the wrongs he had done to me. You are sorry? Your attitude towards me was despicable. Since you started following that mommy water girlfriend of yours, you changed towards me. Look at you. You are not even free with yourself. I vented my frustration at him. He was sincerely sorry, coming close to me. Guys, love is a bad thing. See me smiling like a new bride because he knows my weak point and has paved his way back to my heart. Please stop coming close to me so I don't get another pregnancy and add to this one. I can't give birth to two at once, I said to him.
Sweet baby.
I believe me, oh. This
I'm
one where
sorry,
they touch me now, I no like this kind thing. This one where you don't give me, they okay. I no want to put another one inside. I no feel born two at once.
I know we put another one.
Assuring me he wouldn't do anything, just playing with me. That's how I forgave him, guys. The next morning, I was still sleeping in my bedroom when Tony came in again. Guess what, guys? He came to serve me breakfast in bed. I was so surprised. He was so nice and sweet as we played and ate together. Honestly, Tony, will this new attitude of yours remain like this, or will it change someday? He assured me he wouldn't change. I'm so happy, guys. Days later, I was in the living room when Linda carried her bag to leave. I've truly seen that Linda is not a bad person after all. She's a sweet and selfless soul. I quickly stood up to apologize to her, but she cut me off, apologizing instead. She confessed that she isn't a bad person, but that the situation made her act that way. Now she has seen and heard that Tony loves me more, my cooking, and how I make him happy. She decided to make the sacrifice by leaving him for me, especially for the baby's sake. I was so delighted. I apologized too, and thanked her for her act of selfless kindness and support. We made jokes about our previous continuous fighting and laughed together. Then we hugged. Shortly, Tony joined us, and Linda called him to join us, assuring him we weren't fighting this time, but making peace. He was a bit uncomfortable standing between two women he loves. But wait, guys, can one actually love two women at the same time? In Tony's case, I guess he has to love me more because I am carrying his child. Linda ensured there was peace and unity in the home before leaving. Tony offered to drop her off, and I playfully said he wouldn't go anywhere, wanting to see how Linda would react. Her face immediately changed, so I quickly told her I was just joking and insisted on following Tony to drop her off. That's how I finally got back my Tony. What did you learn from my story, guys? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe to Creatority Films for more interesting and latest Nigerian movie updates. See you next time.